Put a vest on.
Oh, how's it going out there, everybody? Welcome to the live. Can you hear me? I got a crew with me today. Size in the editing bay. 41 of you, 44 of you out there already. So cool. I always like this part. Mike Glover says all the time, like, "Okay, guys, this is where it's awkward. This is the awkward part." So, happy Thursday. Okay, here comes all the comments. I'm going to kill this light behind me too. Welcome to the finale live event or episode. Thank you all for watching and being a part of this series to this point. One more to go. We're really proud of this one. This one took a lot of work. This one had, we probably rewrote it at least 3 times. I did the ending at least 3 times. It was, and we wrestled with it. It was a really good edit challenge to get it right. So, yeah. What else? Man, we got Newfoundland. Newfoundland. Thursday night brain.
Yeah, we're a little smoked.
I don't know about you guys, but hopefully your guys' years are just, the year ahead is just starting to get stacked with stuff. Ours is, and we're having meetings. It's intense, it's hard, but it's really fun, exciting, rewarding. But every night I go to bed, Shelly and I talk at night, and we're just like, I feel like I took the SATs in high school today again, you know? Yeah. And I was horrible at tests. So it was just like the worst day of my life to have to go take the SAT tests. And I did horrible on it. And my brain hurt real bad after it. And I remember it. And that's how my brain feels every day at the end of these big pushes like this. So, yeah.
It's good. We have a lot of things in the works. Really excited for 2022 and 2023.
Yep. And we've got Israel, North Carolina,
amazing.
British Columbia,
hey,
Thailand, Jeremiah. He is his own destination in himself. Newfoundland.
Is that my dad? My dad's on there.
Wow.
What? I didn't know you could use YouTube, Dad.
Welcome to the future.
Michael Wills is my dad, by the way.
As you have seen in the Overlander series, when we went and did the Washington BDR route, he's famous. So
he is. Old Snaggletooth is famous there.
Yeah. His tooth is fixed now, though.
It is,
he would want you to know that.
Yes, he would. That was rude of me.
So, yeah. So we thought we'd start off today with just some questions. Over the last month, I guess we would estimate that we have had, I've got a couple other guys over here too. So if you see me talk to random people, it's not my alter ego. Is there, how many questions do you think we've fielded between Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of it?
I don't even think there's probably 1,000, 1,500 total.
Dang.
I guess in that ballpark.
Yeah, 1,500.
I would agree.
I would say it could even be more. But so if you've asked us a lot of questions in the past and we haven't talked to you or answered your questions, that's why, because we're buried in so many of them, which is awesome. It's a good problem to have. We love interacting, but it's tough to get to 1,500, engageable comments. So, yeah. So what questions do we have today? I think we're 4 minutes into this and we should they've been waiting.
Dad says, Mom did it. Good job, Mom.
Yeah, I'm ready for one.
Of the vehicles you've had in the past, not on this trip, which did you miss the most and why?
Of the vehicles that we've had in the past, which of them did we miss the most and why? That's a good question.
It's a good question.
You can always miss a 200 series Land Cruiser.
I would agree.
That's a given.
Yeah.
The Tacoma with the Habitat on it, X3 Meridian, is also a very good truck that's super useful in those environments. We had Raven here with the Go Fast on it, which was awesome too. But if another truck that we would have brought, that one would have been really good. The Tundra was a workhorse, especially with the P-Core on the back of that. But Adigan really took its role really well, even though it is smaller. It actually did really well. We've been able to downsize our equipment over the years, and the Tacoma's really hauling a lot of the production gear that we need as we've gotten to be more specific with our film gear. All of them have some merit. Like we've built a lot of trucks, and they would have all done well, short of, I don't miss probably my original Tacoma. The Tacoma itself was fine, but the way that it was built did the job, but we've obviously not gone back to that system. It was our first time in Alaska. It was our first big trip. We learned a lot of things from that. So I don't miss that one per se. I like the improvements that we've made along the way.
Yeah. I miss Rufio. That was my favorite.
Rufio was a really good one. Garmin now owns Rufio. They took it off our hands. And so when you guys are at Expo West or any of these events, you can actually go see Rufio. It's typically parked in the Garmin booth, which is pretty cool. Still in the world and looking good and really well maintained and everything. So yeah.
And we do still have Samson. Don't worry.
We do.
Someone
It
was
was
like,
at Rising Sun Toyota, which is our go-to mechanical shop here in town. We use Dark Horse Customs for all of our fabrications. And then Rising Sun they've been our mechanical guys, like doing the oil changes and fixing problems and stuff that come up over the years. And it just had a charcoal filter, something or other fixed. Samson was one of the pre-production, not quite pre-production, it was production, but it was early off the assembly line. And it always had kind of a charcoal canister gas problem. So we would fill up at high elevations and it would just spit out fumes like nobody's business. It was remember that? It even rotted the wrap away from all the fumes that came out of that thing. So especially I think we finally figured out the problem. It finally gave up the ghost and we got it fixed. So Samson's still in the mix.
Nice.
So yeah. Next question.
Where do you guys store food to keep it safe from bears in the trucks?
Store food to keep it safe from bears. You put it under Ryan Conley. If you can put it under Ryan Conley, nothing is going to get between, bear's not going to get to it. So the bear situation in Alaska, there's not a good solution yet other than going through for protecting it against bears, other than going through the massive hassle of bear hanging food. Like if you technically wanted to do it perfectly and safely, you would bear hang your food. None of us are going to do that. Let's be real. We didn't. You take your risks. Problem with kind of what we do now is all of us overlanders, we sleep on top of our kitchens. So that's kind of not necessarily a good idea, but it is the situation that we're in. It's just the drawback to it. So picking good locations and being bear aware, thinking through it is really the best. Having it sealed inside, like we never left trash out or anything like that. It always gets set. I always like who did the worst job that day, who was the worst. And then you take the trash and you take it to that guy's side of the car and you set it in his seat and then you shut the door. And
That's horrible.
Then in the morning you take it out, before he notices. And then all day he sits in that seat and he's like, what's that? So that's not how we do it. You actually put it in the driver's seat, which is typically my seat. So
I was going to say, I know who's getting that next, but
yeah.
But yeah, you covered it. And we never leave trash out. When you're cooking, be really mindful about if you're pouring grease somewhere, don't
sump it.
Do that.
If you've never heard that term, sumping is you take it away from camp. You dig like a cat hole, like you would if you were to go to the bathroom, and you pour it into the ground with obviously here's all the disclaimer stuff, the good soaps, the organic, the blah, blah, blah. And then you dump it in that, and then you fill it back in away from camp, downwind of where you are. Not upwind. You don't want the bear coming through camp to find that. You want it all downwind. So a view. Yeah. And then the other thing that you can do for food is, who says this is a backpacking technique? Who says you have to cook where you sleep? You could, if it's really hot bear country, you can roll into somewhere, cook your meals, do all of that stuff, pack up and move another 10 miles or wherever you're going to go, and roll into your campsite for the night and sleep. So that's another technique that you could use too. You just got to be bear aware. I am always cooking up this idea of how to build bear fences, and I have a pretty good idea how I'm going to do it in the future. So anyway, I was even taking pictures of some stuff for some research on that topic. So yeah, what if the wind shifts? Well, it's just, the wind's going to do what the wind's going to do. You're going to have to just improvise, adapt to survive. So
All right, what's next?
next question.
What was the most technical driving situation you encountered on the trip?
Most technical driving situation we encountered on the trip. That's a good question. Define technical. Probably it means the mud or the rock crawling or something like that. Under that instance, it would be the mud that was in the previous episode 4, I believe, at the very beginning there. That mud and stuff was the most dynamic problem set we had. It was fun. It wasn't nothing dangerous. We just had to work our way through it and, help the trucks get through it safely without breaking something, because we had so far to go still. I'd say the most, there's 2 other levels of technical. I would say river crossings are one. You got to make sure you do that right, because the consequence is high in a very short period of time. Like, you don't do the proper scouting on that and you sink a truck, you could lose a truck in a minute, but the longest term technical thing would probably be the Dalton Highway up to Prudhoe Bay at the top. A lot of times we get sucked into thinking that the most technical thing or the most dangerous thing we do is that extreme off-road thing that we're going to go out there and do. But really the most dangerous thing we do as overlanders is just drive highways and going through towns and stuff, because that's where all the wild variables are and the high speed. So yeah, that's what I'd say. Those 3 areas. Unless I'm missing one, but any of the river crossings, the mud that night or that next day, and the big long slick roads, especially coming back from Prudhoe. We didn't shoot a whole lot of that, but that road gets nasty, slimy. Plus it's pretty high speed and there's traffic on it. It's probably the most dangerous technical thing we did in that regard. Yeah.
I would agree. I'm checking with Steph. So Steph and Alex are on right now. They're the Overlander Apparel. And we may be giving away some things.
Well, we will. We will be giving away some things.
Checking to see what she wants to give away. What random question are you going to ask?
What random what?
To give someone a giveaway. To give someone a hat.
Okay.
What's going to be the thing?
Wow, I don't know. If my ADD brain just exploded inside.
It's been a long week.
It has. I'm sorry, I'm not on all cylinders here. That's an engine joke. Maybe it's a spark plug joke. I don't know. If you had to take one totally obscure vehicle around the world and you had to leave tomorrow, what would it be? I know what mine would be.
What would it be?
I don't know the name of it though, for some reason right now. It's the Russian van.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, oh,
okay.
here it is. Okay, so I'm looking for the best one.
You
There's
go.
some good ones in there.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay, I'm reading. Dude, Daryl Inslee.
Daryl Inslee.
I like that one.
Where is he? I missed it.
He was up above the AMC Eagle. Yes. That was my Aunt Maggie had an AMC Eagle when I was a kid. And she worked in town, and she was out at the ranch, and she always commuted into town in her AMC Eagle. And it was the first, I mean, what a cool future forward thinking car that was. And I have a very good friend now, Scott Seary, who has restored one and still drives it and goes camping in it all the time. So I'm going to go with AMC Eagle. He has won the first hat. I think it was Daryl.
I don't know.
Daryl. I saw it way up. It's Daryl AMC Eagle. We'll find you. We'll see you.
I'm going to swap
So-
out your hat though.
Oh,
Does that one fit you?
I meant to get a haircut today and a beard trim. I didn't. Slob. Here's one of our new hats. Check it out. Multicam's back with the Overlander patch on it. So not everybody knows this, but this is a large XL. And when my head is this full of nasty hair, I kind of need it to be an XL. So if you order a hat and it's a large, these flex fits actually have a stitch in here, and you just lightly put it over your knee and pull it back, and you hear the stitch pop. And that's how you get the extra large out of the large hat. So,
All right. So Daryl, was that his name?
That was
won
it.
that? All right.
yep.
Message info@xoverland.com with your information, and we will get you set up. Awesome.
You took the one hat off of me, and
I did.
that is an old hat.
It is.
We
Steph
don't-
was like,
these
hey, we
are-
don't have those anymore.
These are long gone, but that's an old, I mean, this hat's probably 5 years old at least. But we don't sell those anymore because of trademark stuff that we filed and got with Xoverland, etc.
Okay. Next question.
Ready for one?
Ready.
Do you think a full-size truck would have been able to make the same trip as the Tacoma?
Ooh.
Full-size truck would have been able to make the same trip as a Tacoma. Yes. The answer is hands down, yeah. Tacomas are nice. They zip around. The 4Runners are nice. They zip around. They get through places. But everywhere we went, a full-size would have been able to handle it just fine, including all the ferries, all the bridges, everything that we went across. Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem at all. Alaska, Canada, until you get into the way tight stuff. And a lot of the West, you can do no problem, even globally, no problem with a full-size platform. We kind of, as overlanders, if you're coming from the trail side of things, yeah, it's kind of nice to have something a little tighter that will go down the small trails. But over the years, doing what we do and traveling as much as we have, we've had full-size, and they do get pinstriped, but they've been able to do everything that we've wanted to do. Now, there's obviously a cutoff point, because right over here, I have my Ram, the big boy, the AEV Prospector with big 4-wheel camper and stuff. That's to a new size where I don't take it to places. But I've compromised that for the livability of that system. And I can still do, I would say, 90% of what I want to do in that vehicle, but I wanted the livability to be max factor on that vehicle. So that's the trade-off. So yeah, Daryl Inslee, he just caught me. It's me.
It's me, guys.
So
Awesome.
yeah.
Next question.
How far can you go off grid before needing to turn back for supplies?
How far can you go off grid before needing to turn back for supplies? Ooh, that has a ton of variables. That's a loaded question for us. We usually can go up to 10 days. I think the longest we've gone without resupply is 10 days in Bolivia. And what really starts to come into play on those long stints, depending on how hard you're traveling, is your fuel range. Because you can you can drive out your fuel and then sit there till your food runs out. And however you plan that, it could be a month of freeze-dried foods, or you run out of water, not being able to get to water. So I think in general, we tried to plan for being off grid probably 5 to 6 days, and can push it up to 10 days. But you're getting into jerry cans, and you're going to need resources for water, because you can't carry all of that liquid capacity usually on these vehicles, unless you were to get into something huge like earth roamers or unimogs or something where you can just pack a ton of fuel, ton of water, etc. So, and that kind of, people don't necessarily always like that answer, because they think, in the bug out situation or something like that, that they would go hop in their truck and live off grid for a long time or something like that. The reality of that is just not the case. We practice it every single season and see how far we can go. Vehicles are a mobility platform. It gets you from A to B and can keep you sustained between A and B for a certain period of time, but it is not the end all be all situation. You have to restock, refuel so often. And depending on your travel schedule, that can really lengthen or shorten that time. So hard to say it's hard to give you a straight answer. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ready for another one?
Ready for another one.
It's a simple one.
Simple.
Okay.
Good.
What was the funniest moment on the trip?
Oh, man. I thought this was simple. Okay, I'll tell. I can't say. But a lot of the best things that happen don't actually happen on camera, which is true of any trip. It's the funny things that happen when you could never predict it. Yeah, I don't know. But I think one of the funniest thing I saw come out of this series is the two brothers talking about their cookies.
There's a lot of questions about that.
And
so good.
oh man, that night. So, they didn't know that I was recording. So I had just been in that truck, if I'm not mistaken, or I was just in the one ahead of it. I saw them get out. I ran over there, because once you get to know the brothers, they're constantly bickering. Going back, they won't say that. They call it discussing. They're discussing something.
They're like the brothers from Ocean's 11.
They are. They're just like the brothers, the twin brothers, the Mormon brothers from Ocean 11. They're just like those guys. So it's not hard to predict that they're going to get back into the car and have some sort of dialogue. So I ran over there and I turned the GoPro on and then made them go move the truck forward. And happenstance that's when the cookie scene happened. And that night we watched it and we were all rolling. So good.
We showed it to their parents when they got back here. They were rolling. The brothers were rolling.
Yeah.
Caroline was dying. And now she sends us little clips every time that they're having a discussion.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's pretty good.
It's really good. So
yeah. I saw one in here. What's your favorite camp dessert?
All my favorite camp desserts?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Any of them. A body like
Rice Krispie treats?
Takes work. So you've just got to take what you can get. I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, you used to make Dutch oven and peach cobbler.
That's the best.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
There's nothing
Apparently
better
that's
than
the
that.
best.
There's nothing better than peach cobbler out of a Dutch oven for dessert in camp.
Yeah.
So
Yep,
this next
that's
question kind of goes with that.
Okay.
What's one thing you wish you had packed? So
One thing we wish we would have packed.
I'm excited.
Spare awning poles.
Yes.
That's a great question. There's always things that you could do with and still you could do without. So the better you get with doing without, you kind of don't wish for things as much. But John, I know what Dr. John would say. We were sleeping in the X3 camper, and that thing has an Nespresso coffee machine that like goes up and down. And he was so excited about the Nespresso coffee machine. And it was like night 2. Oh, okay. And so like, as you get into these trips, you become brothers, you take care of each other. So every night At night I would take care of John, and in the morning John would take care of me.
Oh.
So at night I'd be like, John, you're writing in your journal, and would you like your beard oil? And so, here's your beard oil, and we would take care of our beards. And in the morning he would wake up and he would pop up the coffee in the espresso machine, and he would brew me a cup of coffee while I was in bed. I mean, it was amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah. And then the coffee machine broke. And John never fully recovered from it, to the point that we would go into towns and look for replacement coffee machines. And we actually did find one and put it in there, but it lasted like a day. I forget what happened, but we short-circuited it out and he lost it right away. So John had to suffer without his Nespresso coffee in the morning. Anyway. Next question.
This one just came in. The people need to know.
The people
how much
need to know.
Taylor Swift did we listen to? Essentially?
How much Taylor Swift?
A lot.
She had like 3 new albums.
Yeah, we had stuff to go on. Creative juices were flowing from her music. I think you could say that the Alaska Yukon or the Alaska series here looks this way because of Taylor Swift.
So here's one for you guys. What was the most useful piece of gear on the trip?
The most useful piece of gear outside of what parameters? Because I would say the trucks.
Speaking of trucks, maybe take that and think of the modifications, the major modifications you made to the truck. Which one really stood out to you?
Wow, that's a hard thing to answer. Which, let me rephrase the question in case they didn't hear. What was the number one? Let's make sure I have it. What's the best piece of
gear on the expedition?
Best piece and most useful piece of gear on the trip?
The most useful piece of gear on the expedition.
Got my turds wasted.
Someone said sunscreen.
No, I never put
it's
any of
useful
that
in
on.
Baja. It
I never
wasn't
put any of that
too
on.
useful in Alaska.
It's hard, man. That is hard to say. Our systems are so integrated. They take care of each other. I think the number one workhorse for the group is the X3 Patriot camper trailer. Mm-hmm. You cook out of it. It feeds you. It sleeps. It keeps you out of the weather with the big awnings and stuff. It's just a really phenomenal piece of gear. If I had to pick one thing, that would be it. But it's really the whole system that we've designed over the years that works together that makes it. But
it's with a group of people on a film production. It is a really It's
the sink and
really
powered
helps
water
our systems out a lot.
Yeah, a place to get in out of the weather.
Mm-hmm.
So that's got a lot going for it. But that's a big piece of kit. If it was
toilet paper is pretty important.
That's for sure. But I've gone a month without toilet paper. It's fine. You can do that.
So this viewer wants to know, were you guys ever bored on the expedition?
If we were ever bored on the expedition, yes.
Like driving up to Prudhoe Bay. Yeah,
there are times when you get bored doing your thing, and that's not a bad thing. Boredom is something that's so rare these days that I actually just listened to a really great book on this called The Comfort Crisis. And if boredom really kicks off a lot of neurological thinking that you don't really get unless you become bored. So it's okay to be bored, and I always have enough to think about anyway. I can drive for hours upon hours without even the radio on. Mm-hmm. So it drives people nuts.
It drives me nuts.
But yeah, we get bored for sure.
Okay. Another
That was pretty heavy.
Heavy. Okay.
Okay.
Let me take a drink.
Yeah, you might want to drink
of my tea.
Then we'll do a giveaway after this question.
It's a good
Spice
one.
it up a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, this viewer wants to know, which trip has had the most emotional impact upon you? taken into that,
Oof.
that philosophy of how trips change you?
Mm. What trip has had the most emotional impact on me,
Mhm.
roughly?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think Rachelle could weigh in on that one as well.
Yeah, I mean, each trip,
Mm.
it's funny because they were at such different times in our lives. Like we had Alaska, and it was the first time we'd ever done anything like that. We'd
Yep.
never filmed the series, didn't know what we were doing, how to do it. We were young, didn't really have, at least for me, didn't really know who I was as a person yet. So it was just all of these like,
Mhm.
I was trying so hard, just insecure. And then you have South America, where the culture had an emotional impact on me.
Yep.
And Colombia had such a joyful impact on me, whereas Peru was a little more heavy of an emotional impact. So I think as far as cultures go, the South America trip for me had the most emotional impact just with what I was immersed in. But our very first trip in Alaska probably had like my internal identity impact.
Yeah,
that
we
makes sense.
we were young at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Still young. Who are we kidding?
I'm
There's-
still like 25. So.
There was a lot going on in that, and we talked about it a little bit when we were in Coldfoot. That we all kind of had to sit down and have a heart to heart because I was feeling a ton of pressure. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. Plus, I had all these responsibilities. I had sponsors for the first time. I was obligated to do a good job. Plus, I knew that I wanted to do a good job, and it all became so heavy. It actually took a lot of the joy out of it. So I had to work through things in the field at that time. So Alaska, Yukon, the first big one, was certainly there. Central America, frankly, I was a little scared to go in there. I wasn't really comfortable with the whole thing, but I knew I had to do it and wanted to get it done. By the time South America came around, I feel like leadership had come around. We knew what we were doing. So that had like the most fun I've ever had on a trip is the South America expedition. But I think the hardest emotional trip that we've ever done is actually the Great Pursuit.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was from Canada to Mexico, but there were so many other things going on in our life at that time. Just had one of my best friends die. We were flying these scary contraptions called powered paragliders, and it was all within like months of each other. It was too much at once. I think it made a really amazing series at the end of the day, but we paid for it emotionally during that time. It took a long time to recover from that one.
Yeah, for sure. That was.
So,
we were really glad
yeah.
when 2019
Was over.
And I know COVID came
For that-
next, but
for
we don't
that
need to talk
reason.
about that.
Yeah, for that
Everybody
reason.
knows about that.
Cool. All right.
Awesome. Okay.
That's a good question.
So, what question do you want to ask to give away a hat? What do you want to know?
What is the average wing velocity of a? Yes. Hey, let's ask that question. Yeah, I don't know what the answer is though. That's the problem with that question.
I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that either.
217 miles per hour.
Okay. Another Exo Flex Fit hat might be this one.
One of these. Okay.
One of these. Okay.
Okay.
Do.
Okay. Why? I'm looking at an X3 mud terrain tire here. Why is it? What is the key feature of a mud terrain in general?
Oh, that's
I'm
good.
looking for the right answer. Why is it built the way it is? What is its intended job? Are you suggesting coconuts migrate?
Well done, Adam. Well done.
Shrubbery.
Tread. Clean out.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Oh,
there was a lot of them.
I see
Whoa.
some of them. Wow. Either a lot of you
This
know the
is-
answer or so
You're gonna have to scroll up.
wow. There's so many that that was too easy of a question.
You're gonna have to pick one.
I'm looking for one that's technically correct.
You might have to go up.
I'm starting to slow down.
We all win. LOL. No participation trophies. Sorry.
This isn't the Oprah show.
Yet.
So I see a lot of mostly right answers. They're not wrong, but they're not like, I'm going to go with K-Shell 25. Gaps in the lugs to clear mud. That's
In the lugs?
the lug of the tire.
Lug of the tire. Okay.
So here's one right behind me.
You can move this.
So the idea behind a mud terrain is that there is so much, do I have an actual one that is around?
It's K.
I don't.
Sorry.
I'm going to pick up the laptop for a second.
Just the letter K.
Okay. So let's look at this tire. Okay. So the separation in the lug, and then even these on the grabbers actually have a very specific purpose. The siping is for all of this to flex enough, but the gap is sized so that it does gather material, and then as the tire rotates quickly, it releases the material from the lug, throwing it out the back, cleaning or clearing the tire, so that by the time this lug goes over back to the material on the ground, it can grab more, and it essentially just quickly chainsaw shovels its way through mud. That is the most technical reason, poorly explained. So these lugs in here, or these little ribs like this, are all designed to help the material, the mud or whatever it is, not stick and to generate like pockets of air and stuff so that it can release itself as it spins. And then, of course, airing down and things like that can help the tire flex and let the material loosen and get thrown out due to momentum. So
Nice.
here you go. That's my Thursday night brain explanation.
That was good. All right. They've got another question
Okay,
for us.
ready?
Okay. What was your experience like aboard the ferry?
What was the experience like on board the ferry? I loved it. The Alaska Maritime Highway is something that all overlanders should put on their bucket list of something to do. I really recommend going from Bellingham up to Anchorage or Valdez, wherever you want to get off. It's because it gets prettier and prettier as you get closer to Alaska. It starts off with that awesome Pacific Northwest forest and islands and stuff, and then it works its way up into glaciers and epic scenery. So it's spectacular. We got a cabin. A lot of people just sleep. You can sleep, I think, for free on the top cabin, and a lot of cool adventurers were up there just sleeping in their tents on the deck, which was really
That would be
cool.
cool.
It was
That would be
awesome.
fun.
I would totally do that too. The reason we didn't do that is because I knew that we were going into a big film job. We were also just coming off of a massive build season and been hustling for a long time. So I wanted to maximize rest before we had to get going. So we spent the extra money to put us in that cabin. It was well worth it. I would have done it. I would make that decision 100 times again. And it was very relaxing. We took a cooler on board with full of food and everything. And then we kind of budgeted ourselves out to eat one good meal, a hot meal from the kitchen there. And then we had kind of cereal and lunches stuff from the cooler during the day. And it was fun. 4 days. It was just right. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I actually contemplated coming back down on the boat because I liked it so much. So it's worth doing.
Can we talk about the pants for a second?
Yes.
Pants?
In the parking.
And the jacket. And
Okay.
we got so many questions about
We did. Please help us answer this question. And please, if you work at Fjall Raven, please call me because I think we may have just made your numbers for next year. This is Fjall Raven. The pants that I'm wearing are Fjall Raven. In the series, we all are. We are not sponsored by them. We just simply, I've had a pair or a couple pair for a couple of years, and they're my favorite pants. Up until we release our own pants someday. Hint, hint, wink,
Stay
wink, nudge,
tuned.
nudge. That but they were so good, and I like the looks of them. They're professional, and a lot of people kind of get to saying on the series, some of the critiques that I've seen are like, why is everybody dressed the same, blah blah blah. It's because it generates an incredible sense of team if you're all uniformly dressed, and that's what I'm trying to achieve with the team. So it's important enough to me that we are outfitted and equipped in the similar way.
Mhm.
And group dynamics thrive when some basic levels of things are all made equal. So that is one of those areas that is an easy win. Plus, they look good, you feel good,
Perform
feel
well.
all Raven,
Mhm.
you know. And then our rain jackets and pants are Sitka. They're right here in Bozeman, headquartered in Bozeman. Good friends of mine in the marketing department over there. And I called up Brad and said, hey, Brad, we're going to Alaska. Can we get outfitted with some of your rain gear? I use their gear hunting and their solids for just life as well. And he hooked us up. So,
But yes,
yeah.
stay tuned. We have some really exciting things coming soon on the horizon. COVID has made things take longer than they should have. Let's just put it that way. So, but yeah.
COVID.
Tanner would like for Clay to address the smoking what the cigarettes were in Baja.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
can we talk about that?
Guys, I'm a secret smoker.
I feel like you need to tell me something here.
Smoking hot. No, I don't smoke.
I think okay. So it was episode.
If I did, who cares? I'm just an individual and I'm in life.
Which you don't.
But I don't. Though I do enjoy a cigar every now and then.
This is true.
And
a pipe.
And a pipe.
Yeah.
But no, I don't smoke. So some people caught. This is amazing what people find and see inside of these episodes, because I edited that episode and I didn't even notice it.
Mm-hmm.
And I studied it for hours. But you'll see me get back into the truck after crossing the borders, the Mexican border. And
Baja
with Tanner,
episode 1.
Baja episode 1. And you can see me set down some stuff on the center console, and there's a pack of cigarettes there. That's, you could say that's tradecraft. Tradecraft is having certain skill sets or tools on your person that can help you generate a common ground with people, especially in official positions. So there's great ways to do it. That's not the only thing that we do. I always buy a fresh pack of cigarettes before we cross somewhere. I open it up. I take 3 of them. I throw them in the trash can so it looks like I smoke them. You know, it's not a fresh pack right there. And then you go talk to somebody, and if they're smoking, you can offer them one. This is like border guards, bad guys, someone who's helping you. It can also be just, you know, a friendly gesture. It's not only for manipulation, but it can build that common ground. It's called, in the technical term, it's called forced teaming. And bad guys use it against us all the time, but you can, as a good guy, use it against bad guys too, or people that you just need to generate a quick friendship with. Gum is another one. Mm-hmm. You probably have interacted with that in your own life. And then cold drinks. Mm-hmm. So our refrigerator is always full of cold Cokes or Red Bulls or whatever, drinks and snacks even too, that an 18-year-old Army kid who's standing out in the hot sun in his body armor, who's going through all of your trucks and has the ability to make you have a real bad day, you offer him something. Mm-hmm. He can say no. And sometimes you hand them a Red Bull and they go all smiles and they say, see ya, have a great day, you know, and we go about our business. So that's why there is a pack of cigarettes being set down, because it was part of my kit when I got out to talk to the border guard.
Yeah.
All right. Ready for another question?
Ready.
Okay. This is for both of you.
Okay.
Advice for a married couple just starting out overland.
Oh, the
Great
marriage
question.
tester.
I'm going to let you handle this one. Great marriage advice for a couple just getting started overlanding.
Expectations. So before you leave or want to go on a trip, highly recommend having the conversation of what kind of trip are you wanting this to be. You both might have totally separate ideas, and there's a way to compromise that. If one of you wants to not be dirty for 5 days and needs a shower at 2 days, talk about that beforehand. Talk about who's going to be cooking, what kind of food are you cooking, and what time are you hoping to get into camp at night so you're not leaving, tensions are high, and you're rolling in at midnight starving. So try to set it up for success. And each of you pick something that interests you, that you want to do. So it's not just one person bringing along the other person on a trip. You both are involved. Helps if you each have a role of some kind, either driving or navigating or both. But that's really helpful. It'll hopefully allow you to have a really fun trip. And then the more you do that, you'll figure out systems and how you work together, and you'll just want to do more. So that's my short answer on that.
That's all great stuff. I think before you leave on a trip, define what a good trip would be. You know, by the end of this weekend, say you're going out for a weekend, I want to feel relaxed. I want to go see this one place, and I would really love to eat at that restaurant. And I think cooking breakfast is going to be my thing that I'd like to dive into on this weekend trip. Okay, cool. So you've got those expectations. Oh, that all sounds good, but I'd also like some time to sit and read. And that would be important to me because I've had a tough week at work. I need some downtime. Okay, so you're just like setting up those parameters, which are the expectations Rachelle talked about. And then you work for the other person to have the greatest time they can. So one of the marriage tips that we got years ago was marriage is not 50-50. This goes for teamwork, goes for team dynamics. We talk about it inside our organization. We were bringing it up just 2 weeks ago that it is not a 50-50 proposition. Marriage is 100%, 100%. It's 100% to her best, and she's going to pull 100% towards me. And I don't change my value of how much I give to her based on her performance to me. That's not the commitment that I made. So if you go into things with that kind of mentality, you'll be amazed how, when you're both on that same page, the things that you can conquer or the great time that you can have. And then share responsibilities, share the load, and be engaged with the activities. So
put the phone away.
And you know what? If one is more into it than the other, that's
totally
just
fine.
How it is too. And you just accept it and make the best you can of it and go from there.
Okay,
So,
we got some giveaways to do.
Didn't know that this was marriage counseling, did you?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Been there, done that. Okay, we have a t-shirt, new t-shirts that just dropped today on the site
Oh yeah, these are cool.
from Alex and Steph. There's the back. Can you tell which rig that is? They'll know. Okay, so what's going to be your question?
Would they? I wouldn't know.
You
It could be between 3 different trucks.
It's true. You got to look at the landscape right here.
It could still be between 3 different trucks.
Okay. Hold on.
It's the clone, okay?
It's a clone. Okay, fine. All right. So what's your question?
Oh, I have to come up with one now.
I would, but my brain is
Okay.
not operating
Okay.
correctly.
Um,
Andy, do you have a question? Jimmy?
what could we offer them as a question? It needs to be technical, because if it's too easy, we just get bombarded and there's too many answers at once. We can't select one in time.
Here we go. Who can come up with the best question? Then you win a t-shirt. There's my question. Oh,
I'm going to ask a technical question of some kind. Something that, okay.
What involving Max? Something involving Max?
ham radio.
Okay. That got me somewhere. That spun me off. You're going to be like, how did you get there? What is the number one rule that you should have for any piece of equipment that you select for your expedition?
Do I know this one? What? Say it again. Repeat that.
I can't remember. What is the
Number
general
one
rule
rule.
for gear that you select on an expedition? I better be watching.
Someone said,
I saw it up there too.
is that the answer? Whisper it to me.
Wow. Hey, this crew, guys.
That's awesome. You guys
awesome.
are amazing. Holy cow.
Yeah, there's a lot of right answers in here. So I'm gonna have to go
It was up further.
even further.
I'm thinking,
It's
okay.
amazing.
Now go down slowly. Keep going. Keep going.
She reads so fast. I read at the speed of conversation.
That one? Was that it?
So it's almost between those two.
Okay.
Douglas Burns is the first one that I see. And that is the best answer, I think. Because I don't think it should be specified to only 2 uses, but multiple uses. However, I would expand upon this
Quickly.
answer, and it would be multiple uses or 1 mission critical purpose. Because those are 2.
Well, then there's 2 different ways, because that's also correct.
2 is 1,
Mhm.
but that's multiples, not like I've selected this
Oh, I
piece.
see what you mean. Okay, yeah.
So
Yeah, I get it.
yeah, Douglas Burns. I'm going to give it to Doug.
Like a jacket can be a jacket, a pillow,
Mm-hmm.
and a
Yeah.
blanket.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a very elementary term. Wow.
Yep.
I got there, guys.
So that's good.
That was work.
Good job.
Do I get a
But
t-shirt?
multifunction, that's correct. Have 2 of them. That's also like a go-to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, email info@xoverland.com with your username and we will get you taken care of. Okay, let's do another one because we got 2 more t-shirts to give away and a hat.
Like a question, technical question.
Yeah, that they'll answer. Is it a
This
good one?
one's hard.
Okay,
This one's
let's
hard,
hear it,
but
Jimmy.
Okay.
It's covered. It involves shackles and
Okay.
winching and attaching them.
Okay. Okay. What is the rule with the D shackle when you put the pin in it?
They're gonna know this one.
Okay.
I have
What is
faith in
the
this crew.
what's the general rule when you put a shackle pin into the pin and screw it down? What is the what's the rule there?
Scroll down.
Boom. I already see it. The first one is
That's correct too.
but that's a different purpose.
Mhm.
So reverse people has it correct. Turn it back 1/4 turn,
Not a half.
not a half turn.
It's a
You don't
quarter.
need you don't
Okay.
need to go a half turn. A half turn would probably be sufficient, but a 1/4 turn is the general rule.
Do we have one? that we
So
can-
I don't know. There might be one. So anyway, you have your D-ring shackle and you put the pin in it. The other thing that I would say is make sure, depending on how the D-ring is oriented, always make sure that the pin is in the down orientation, because especially like on trailer hookups or something. Yeah, so you never tighten them down and leave them that way. You always tighten them and then come back a 1/4 turn, just a little bit, quarter twist, and then make sure it's pointed down, because otherwise they'll rattle out. So, yeah.
Awesome.
So
Okay.
give
Give away
us
another shirt.
give us a shout. Okay, another shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One more. You've got like 5
Hmm.
minutes.
What tea did they just win though? Well, I think of the next question.
They won a gray or green of the new design with the clone on it. Man, you guys know your stuff.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
awesome.
awesome.
It's really good.
It is a game of who has the fastest internet speed.
Okay, here's the next question. What should be the reason you buy a piece of equipment? The primary reason you would buy a piece of equipment. Let's keep it down to overland equipment that you would put on your truck, that you would put on your vehicle. I'm looking for a pretty unique answer here. Okay, that one.
Look out. You guys are amazing on the keyboard.
Okay, so I saw one that was right off the bat that I think for how fast it was, deserves it. Where'd it go? Sorry, guys. Hang tight. The tension in the
I
room.
feel like an old couple right
There
now.
it is. Yeah.
Dibs on the shirt. You'll use
It's
it
so
to solve a problem.
to solve a problem. Hunter Milner. So, but that Hunter, you're going to get it. To solve a problem. That implies that you know what the problem is, which comes from experience. So don't be afraid. The trap that we often see people, and I have fallen trap to this too. You see this piece of gear, man. Instagram is pushing this. Expedition Overland's got it in their picture all the time. I got to have this thing. But and then you get it and you're like, but I don't really ever use this. And it cost $1,000 or whatever it was. And now there was 10 other things that I'm actually on my trip that I should have bought with that $1,000 from going on trips that I should have bought first before this fancy shiny thing that Expedition Overland has on their Instagram page or whatever. So go get experience, go without stuff, and then eventually you'll find that, okay, this is the next piece of gear that I should get because I have experience and it will solve a problem for me or it creates a solution. Be very, in the words of Kurt, be very leery of answers in search of a problem. And that depends on who you are and what you're doing, because an answer to me might be an answer in search of a problem for you. So yeah, be critical thinkers.
Makes me think of that other question about when is your truck finished being built?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So the age old adage from Scott Brady, publisher of Overland Journal, says your truck is finished when you've taken the last thing you don't need off of it. Not when you've bought the last thing you wanted and put it on. It's the other way around. So that's the rule of thumb.
Okay. I would love to pick the last winner. How many ladies do we have out here tonight? Give like a thumbs up or a
Yeah. Let's see those thumbs up.
something. I don't know. Me. Awesome. Okay. Okay. We've got one hat left. My wife is here. Tell her to subscribe. We need.
Your name's not Sergio.
But it's not Friday. Steven Shreds. That's funny. Okay. All right. Stephanie is chatting on the Overlander side. So there we go. Land Cruiser Life. Me using my hubby's account. You get a hat.
You get a hat. and
You get a hat. Awesome.
Land Cruiser Life.
But in all seriousness, it's amazing to see how many more women are coming into this space, and it's so appreciated. We've got some plans that we're working on, so hang tight.
Yeah.
And thank you.
You bet. That's awesome. So in just a few minutes, guys, our episode is going to start. We are screaming towards 300,000 subscribers on YouTube. We know a lot of you.
Thank you.
We know that over 70% of our audience is not subscribed. So please, if you haven't done that, smash that button, ring that bell, whatever catchy phrase thing it is that generally makes me feel inferior when someone says that to me. But that would be greatly appreciated. And
Yep.
we're within 500 of hitting 300,000, which is really cool. It's a fun benchmark to hit. Thank you all for being a part of this and being a part of our lives and interacting. And we couldn't do what we do and tell the stories that we get to tell without you guys. And you've heard that a lot, but that's what it boils down to. So thank you so much.
Yes.
We've been doing this for 12 years and we want to do it for another 12 years. We're just getting started on a lot of things. So stay tuned and thank you for your support. And tonight,
Yes.
I hope you just absolutely love the fifth and final episode of our Alaska Last Frontier series. We're very proud of it. You're going to hear some great choices. We pushed the envelope on a couple things on filmmaking and I think you'll enjoy it. So
Awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
guys. Thank you for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for suffering with our brains tonight. We appreciate it.
yep. So we'll see you on
And,
the other side on the premiere, right?
Yep.
We'll be typing away.
We're going to hop right back over on the
there.
premiere and hang out with you. So thank you. And thanks for making the Alaska series our most successful series to date. Thank you.
Cool. Sweet.
We'll see you later.
See you guys. I always want to just slam the laptop down, but maybe that's rude. So
Maybe that's rude.
peace out. Ciao.